Joining us is the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy, Sahlulele Luzipo. Good evening to you and welcome. We looked at that package there which told us a little bit more about the two-day visits, and we seem to be at a point where there's going to be a lot more coordination between all of the departments concerned. From your perspective as DMR, just again, highlight some of the steps and recommendations you're making after this site visit.
Look, good afternoon, evening to you and the viewers. Look, from a portfolio committee point of view, we think that this is one of the best manners or way in which we could tackle some of the issues that cut across our portfolio committees. Yes, it's true. Also, as I said on the trip, that what was just raised on TV, that the interaction should have included. I think that's what the portfolio committees, all three of them, confirmed that we should have included the portfolio committee on justice and correctional services, because amongst the issues that are being raised are the low rate of prosecutions or people just getting granted bails, and we thought that had we roped in the portfolio committee on justice and correctional services, we would have been able to do this thing. What is the advantage? I think we must acknowledge and accept that we have learned some of the lessons. The advantage of this is that as the three portfolio committees are able to make accountability on the spot, police will understand better how police are supposed to apply criminal justice procedures. Equally, from our point of view, we'll understand what is supposed to be done according to the issues that relates to mining rights and other things. So will Home Affairs. So that cooperation amongst those three portfolio committees, we think at this stage we can say is beginning to yield the results.
Given the high rate of arrests, and one would expect then expected court appearances, not only relating to the matter of illegal mining, but of course to the multiple rape charges from the event that sparked all of this earlier this year, is there the possibility of perhaps a special court just to manage this particular crisis, to ensure expediency of justice?
Look, there are many issues that we said must be taken into consideration, and I think the point that you are raising is not also out of consideration to have, because we have already suggested that from a police point of view, you need a specialized unit that will focus mainly on dealing with the issues that relate to illegal mining. Obviously, if you've got a specialized unit, it will also mean that you need specialized issues that relate to criminal procedures. Be it a special court, a specialized court, which will require obviously different specialized skills, even in the determination of sentences and so forth, including prosecution. Equally, one of the things we've said is that from a financial or resource point of view, we need now to pursue or urge our government that instead of, because we've seen in most cases wasteful and fruitless expenditure, we have said that maybe one of the things that will help is that they do what is called conditional grant. For instance, if you give money to the DMRE and you give money to police, that money must be specific for what purpose it's supposed to serve, so that accountability on the spending can be done. Now, if you just give a budget to police, it actually means they can spend in any way and the manner that they feel. But if this is treated as a priority, then you allocate a conditional resources so that police can have those who are supposed to perform that specialized task, they can do it effectively.
Well, let's stay on the money then. Regarding the closure or the demolishing of the disused mines, who bears the cost? And I'm asking this in conjunction with, what you can share with us about how many belong to miners who might have gone into business rescue or just simply abandoned the sites because they ran out of cash.
Look, it's something that we have to do to make a calculation. Remember, you've got about 6,000 derelict and ownerless mines. And currently, the government's budget for derelict and ownerless mines is around about 140 per financial year. And according to Mintech, which is a research entity of the Department of Mineral Resources, given the responsibility to lead the program of closing down derelict and ownerless mine. What they have said is that it will take us 17 years on that allocated amount, which means 17 years is too far that when we see most of these things. With regards to the point that you are raising under business rescue practitioners, it's something that we said, firstly, we need to look at the law, because what you are having now is that you first apply for a mining right, and when that mining right is granted, it is granted under the DMRE through the act, what we call the MPRDA. But when you are faced with financial challenges, unfortunately, they go through the Companies Act, which then allows the use of business rescue practitioners. Then the problem with business rescue practitioners is that it can take even up to 5 to 10 years, as long as they say that you are doing what they are doing. And we have said, therefore, we also need to look at whether from the Portfolio Committee on Trade, Industry and Competition, we can put together something so that we find a way to amend the two legislation, in particular the Companies Act, so that it can allow the issuing of a license and the reviewing of a license completely at the hands of the DMRE.
Just a final question, Sahlulele, as the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy, we were just talking a short time ago with Action SA about the developments at Lily Mine. They were, of course, celebrating the fact that the SEA is allowing this hearing into Lily Mine operations to go ahead. I think the hearing kicks off in early November, around about the 6th or the 7th, if my memory serves me correctly. What can you share as a response from the DMR to the Portfolio Committee as the latest in terms of the Lily Mine? Any developments there on around culpability, on action that the DMR is taking, both on what we hear around illegal mining activities on that site in the time leading up to the tragedy, and what's happening there now?
Look, it will be a long story when it comes to Lily Mine, but let me start from a committee point of view, or committee side. Or you will recall that the committee had done its work. It even made the oversight. It tabled this report in Parliament, and Parliament agreed and adopted the report. It is now at the hands of Parliament to process it, amongst other issues that the committee raised. Because you will recall that the families had, and probably for all the good reasons, had refused to accept what is called an estimation that those people are no longer alive. And therefore, the difficulty is that if the prosecution is done, on what grounds? And that's why we said probably Lily Mine, through the business rescue process, deliberately prolong the issue of the business rescue practitioners, because they've refused offers. Amongst the things that, because if then they were to sell and those workers are retrieved, then you will know what should be the charge. And if it's a charge of culpable homicide or it's a charge of murder, it will be a charge of murder. The recommendation that we put concretely was that the state must repossess or take over the mine with reasonable compensation. We call it expropriation. They like the word, but yes, we said they must expropriate the mine with reasonable compensation, and then use what then they would have been able to take over of that mine, or if there is a new buyer, use that in order to retrieve those workers. On the basis of that, then we'll be able to relieve the families. So the matter now, obviously, it will be at the hands of the National Assembly and the state on whether that recommendation is followed into the latter.
Right.
But we do have a recommendation that said that they must expropriate the mine with reasonable compensation and use that the mine as a collateral in terms of the mining activities that will take place either by a private individual or by the state-owned mining company in any way. So those are some of the things that we put forward. With regard to the prosecution, yes, we will appreciate anything that it comes to the fore, including for those to come forth. But the problem is that that is not the issue at this stage. The issue here is the agony in which these families are subjected to. And nothing can happen until such time we get a new person who will be prepared to do what the company has refused or has said they don't have capabilities to do.
Sahlulele Luzipo, thank you for talking to us tonight, the chair of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy.